This is Duke University.
I didn't come up here to make an elaborate statement with regards to what's going on here. I'm pretty sure everyone knows by now what's happened, and to some degree you should understand the implications of this tragic incident and a series of incidents that's been on this campus. But I just want to make a simple point of showing solidarity, showing support goes beyond some of the scheduled events that we have on this campus. Goes beyond visiting the multicultural apartments or the multicultural departments, or taking these classes, or even engaging with people of color or other marginalized communities. It starts in your private spaces. And I can't stress that enough. Because too often we have instances where when we're dealing with these issues, we want to put up a certain front, or a certain front of sort of ingenuous or disingenuous sign of solidarity. But in order to have true solidarity, if you really want to do something, if you really want to go beyond the cycle of hearing outcries for things that have been systemically going on and, you know, waiting for it to die down, it all starts in the private spaces. It's not an easy process. It's not an easy process on any end. But we have to do this together. It's not enough. It's not enough. Like one simple task, one simple idea, one simple conversation isn't enough. It's not a goal that we reach, but it's a continuing process, continual development. And until we reach that point and we start working together, these issues are going to be redundant and they're going to keep happening. So instead of looking at this as a goal, look at this as a continuous process. I just wanted to share that all with you before we move forward today. Thank you.
My friends, I'm Dick Broadhead. I'm the president of Duke. This is a beautiful day, and this is a beautiful place, but we are gathered here because something ugly happened at this place on this day. I'm also going to say Duke is a place that's very fun in many ways and very inspiring in many ways, but something happened today that was dispiriting and depressing to this community in the extreme. I'm sure you know the news of it as much as I do, which is that last night, I'm told sometime between 1 and 2 in the morning, there was a report that a rope noose was found in a tree on the Bryan Center Plaza over near Penn Pavilion. Now let me say a few things. One, we don't know who did that. I hope we will know who did it, and if you have any idea who did it, I hope you will help us find out. There's been an investigation going on since the middle of the night, and I hope it will come to a clear resolution. Second thing I'd say is, we don't actually know for sure what the person had in mind who did that. You know, it might have been the most awful thing one could imagine. Maybe somebody thought it was funny. Maybe somebody had no idea what this meant to people. In my experience, when you get to the end of these stories, things always aren't exactly as you guessed. But what I do want to say is, if there's uncertainty about how this arose, there's no uncertainty about what that symbol meant to the audience that saw it. And there's no uncertainty about why people had the response they had to it. I'm sorry, a noose hanging in a tree in a southern state of the United States, this is a symbol that is an allusion to the history of lynching. If you don't know the history of lynching, let's take the chance to learn a little bit about it, and please go find out more afterward. In the days after the end of slavery in the segregated South, ways were perfected to assure the inferiorization of the black population, even after it won technical legal rights. People were kept from going to equal schools, people had their voting rights repealed, but then at the extreme, there was another kind of thing that happened, namely violence was visited on black people, on black bodies. Black people were hung to trees, that's what a lynching was, through extrajudicial processes. And more than that, if you studied the history of lynching, you know it was not typically a spontaneous community act. Often these things were planned, often they were advertised days in advance, and the images of the lynching were circulated widely throughout the community. What this means is lynching was a way of demonstrating to black people that violence could be visited on black bodies at any point. It was visited on some people's actual bodies, but the thing is the circulation of the image was what was really powerful, because what that said is, even if you don't live in this state, seeing this image gives you the message, if you are a person who belongs to a certain category of people, this could happen to you at any time. This is, and so you can imagine not only the denial of your sense of civil rights, of your standing before the law, but the burden you're asked to carry of a sense of continual vulnerability. That was one of the many ways that black people were made to experience their inferiority in this country in the South. If anybody didn't know that history, it would be good to learn it, because otherwise you're not going to explain why this image is so upsetting. Because I promise you, I've seen rope, you know, like on a boat or something. This was not rope on a boat. This was something that called up an image. It was a symbol, and it evoked the whole legacy of that symbol. Let me just say this. I, as a person, and I, as the president of Duke University, find this symbol and what it symbolizes abhorrent. This university condemns the message that was put in circulation, and this university repudiates the message it gave about the kind of place this is. This university repudiates racism in all its forms, as it repudiates every other form of discrimination based on thinking of people as members of abstract categories you can treat as if they're somehow legitimately inferior to yourself. You know, it wasn't so long ago that actually these things were realities in this place. If they are not now, if there's not a contemporary history of lynching, it's because people, actual humans in the North and in the South, white and black, fought and fought and fought, decade after decade after decade, to repudiate the world in which inequality was the law of the land, inequality before the law, inequality of rights. It is only 52 or 53 years ago that Duke accepted its first black undergraduate. That's how recent it is, but that's a long time. It's only 50 years ago that the Voting Rights Act was passed in this country. People worked to create a world in which some people would not be marked as inferior to other people on the basis of nothing more than the prejudice and bigotry of the people who felt they had the power to do it. We fought to make that different world. This university was created through the crucible of that struggle. And what I'm going to say to you is, we have no intention of going back now. When I see that image, what I say is, somebody may think that's an image of a Duke of the present or the future. I repudiate, that's not the Duke I know, that's not the Duke I want, that's not the Duke I'm here to help build. And as I look at the multitude, what a pleasure for me to see your faces stretching as far as they can be. You came here for the reason that you want to say with me, this is no Duke we will accept, this is no Duke we want, this is not the Duke we're here to experience, and this is not the Duke we're here to create. Now I want to say, I've got your attention, so just let me say, I would think that this would be abhorrent if it happened anywhere in the world, but there's something especially abhorrent about it happening in a university. People who live in universities, everyone in this space, we are so inestimably privileged. We're at a place where our work is to try to improve our understanding of ourselves and the world. That's all we're here to do. And the way we're able to do it is because we have the greatest of all luxuries, the highest talent brought to us, not from the world we already know, but from every part of the human world, every country, every race, every community, every origin brought together so that we can teach each other and learn from each other and open our limited perspectives to benefit from the perspectives of others. That's what you can do here, but there's a precondition to having that work successfully here, which is for us to get the benefit of the education that a diverse community embodies, people have to make other people feel safe here. People have to make other people feel welcome here. People have to treat each other as if each other person here has just the right to be here that you do, and is here for the same purposes, and is going to be part of the project of advancing that cause. I'll conclude with this. In the wake of an incident like this, there are things for the administration to do. I do understand that. By chance, I met this morning with the leaders of the Black Student Alliance. That appointment had been set up before we ever knew this would happen. And they had suggestions about ways that orientation programs could be improved. I think those and many other of their suggestions are very valuable, and I think we'll be looking right away to see how we can benefit from those. I've heard people talking about discussions that could take place in the residential houses on campus. I think that's a great thing. I'd only echo the word of the person who was speaking when I got here. It's not like a smallpox vaccine. You don't have it happen once and then all of a sudden you never think about it for the rest of your life. This is a human problem we all have to educate and re-educate ourselves and others out of on a permanent basis. It has to be our work. But I'm going to tell you, you will find the commitment of this university to work on eliminating all forms of inequality and discrimination at this university. But I'm going to call on you to say, that can never just be the administration's work. That isn't something you can delegate to other people to take care of. It has to be all of our work to make the community all of us want to live in. It's all of our work. And so I would say, as you would be respected, show the respect to others that you need. As you would have someone understand you, take the trouble to extend yourself to help them, to help understand where they're coming from. My thought about Duke is, Duke seems like it's all finished, but we're making this place every day, and we have a choice about what kind of place we're going to make it. I look at this multitude. One person put up that noose, but this is the multitude of people who got together to say, that's not the Duke we want, that's not the Duke we're here for, and that's not the Duke we're here to create. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Kasia McCly and I am the President-elect for Duke Student Government. I'm here for two reasons. First, to stand in solidarity with the message that President Sunder is about to deliver, but also to let you know that in the 2015 and 2016 school year, that Duke Student Government pledges to no longer be a reactionary body, and that we will work as hard as possible to consistently take initiative to ensure that our campus is as safe as possible for students all throughout the campus.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Lavanya Sunder, and I'm president of Duke Student Government. It's truly heartening to see so many of you here on a day like today, but I must admit, when I first heard about the noose, it was my instinct to say, this isn't us. It isn't possible that someone on Duke's community could harbor such hateful thoughts that inspired this act. I cannot imagine any one of my classmates' hands tying that knot. I want to separate myself and all of us from this incident, and I want to claim that it is someone outside the Duke community, motivated by opinions that do not exist within our walls. I wanted to say, and I wish that I could say, this isn't us. But to do that would be to deny the racial tension that we've seen manifest on this campus over the past few weeks. It would be to invalidate the experiences of students of color who go every day feeling unsupported or underestimated or invisible. It would be to gloss over issues of racism, prejudice, and bias that we hear minority students testify to every single day. This is our tree. This is our plaza, and this is us. So today, I'm asking of us to say something else. Not this isn't us, but this cannot be us, and this will not be us. I'm asking of all of us to say to our fellow students, you are safe and you are loved. Not because hatred like this doesn't exist on Duke's campus, because it does, but because this beautiful crowd of hundreds of people is standing together to fight against it. These hundreds of bodies can overwhelm one pair of hands tying a rope. These hundreds of bodies can overwhelm distasteful yik-yaks and disgraceful chants. These hundreds of yik-yaks these hundreds of bodies can overwhelm the hatred that we see today. If you are scared, please seek out safe spaces on campus, like the Women's Center, CAPS, and the Mary Lou Williams Center. If you are angry, please join in our fight to make sure this entire campus is a safe space. Please talk about these issues with our fellow students, but more importantly, please make sure that you listen, because there's no way that we can improve the experiences of people of all identities on this campus until we understand them. Duke Student Government right now is working with the Black Student Alliance and other cultural groups on campus to begin these conversations and ramp up our efforts against prejudice. In fact, tonight we're seeing legislation on the floor of Senate that would help to bolster the current actions of the Black Student Alliance, one of these actions being to create a fund for any and all students to create projects to fight against issues of prejudice and bias. We ask you to join these students, join us in these efforts, and to initiate your own. Because today, this incident, it is us, and it's a part of us and who we are as a community. And I simply ask you that it's time to come together and ensure that it won't be tomorrow.
Hello everyone, my name is Abigail Labella, and I am the President-elect of the Graduate and Professional Student Council. I have to admit that the first thing I did when I heard the news this morning was call my parents, because I know that they love and support me. In general, we surround ourselves with people who care for, respect, and encourage us. We hope to build personal communities that are strong and positive. But this doesn't mean that there aren't people in our broader community who embrace and seek to disrupt our lives with hate. Despite the fact that we generally find ourselves in the company of those who love and support us, we occasionally find ourselves among those who do not. Today was one of those days. Into our own personal communities of kindness and compassion, someone thrust a message of hate. And hate cannot be tolerated in any community, in any form, towards any group. So, what do we do when we're faced with hate? Well, we're doing it right now. We are coming together. We are not afraid. We will speak out continuously against those who propagate hate, and most importantly, we will be vigilant in interrupting hate whenever and wherever we see it. In our personal lives and our professional lives, if we all commit, as the Graduate and Professional Student Council will and has, to continue to speak out and interrupt hate in all forms, our community will grow stronger, and those that propagate hate will not feel welcome here at our Duke. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to share 3 points with you from the perspective of real talk. Point 1, I am Linda Marie Burton, an African-American female scholar who is your Dean of Social Sciences here at Duke. And I say your Dean, I mean everyone out there. I am your Dean. I am also the mother of a Duke graduate. I grew up during the riots of the 60s, right in the middle of Watts, and I saw white police officers shoot rioters at point-blank range. I lived most of my life in Compton, California, geographically isolated from the rest of Los Angeles, but still a place where I learned not to fear anything and to choose my battles wisely. My son-in-law's parents marched with Martin Luther King, and his grandfather was lynched in Wilmington, North Carolina, his dead body used for target practice as it blew in the wind. So, my dear brothers and sisters, I take the recent racial incidents at Duke and at all the many other places around the country where they are occurring as very, very personal. But you know what? So do my African American, white, Asian, Latino, and Middle Eastern colleagues at Duke and elsewhere. As a collective, I underscore the point, as others have already. We will not tolerate this kind of behavior on this campus. Duke, in our eyes, is a place where tolerance and civility should thrive. And I believe, as I think the majority of people here do, that we are so much more than what is likely a smaller group of people with little minds, no courage, and even less integrity. Point number 2. By no means am I minimizing the impact of these incidents and other types of aggressions on people's sense of safety, respect, belonging, or notions that they matter in this world. Those of us who have a few years, and I just said a few years, on many of the students here know all too well about the long-term cost of these experiences on one's sense of well-being and health. But there are perspectives you can take to move through this world in productive ways, which I understand many of you already do. As a professor of sociology, through the courses I teach, for example, especially the one on marriage and family, I meet with many students of all ethnic and racial and sexual orientations. This is what I see. When they come in my office to talk to me about a broken heart, a lost love, whether it's male or females, their reactions are the same. They all cry. Black, white, Asian, Latino, men, and females. People respond in similar ways to family loss and accomplishments. There is common ground that is intrinsic to being a human being. Continuing to work to find common ground will help us to move forward. Point 3, you are all writing your own narratives about your experiences with others every day at Duke. When you look at that narrative 10 years from now, what do you want to say in terms of what you personally did to move things forward, to understand others, and to bridge the racial divide? More importantly, what didn't you do to be inclusive of others? How frequently did you engage in the practice of exclusion, even with those within your own racial groups? I hope you are able to say that you use opportunities like the ones that you have right now to do what Stevie Wonder, yes, I had to call on Brother Stevie, to do what Stevie Wonder advises us to do, that is to reach for higher ground, and that you did not let fear and ignorance guide your actions, as some have already done today. I prod you not to ignore the acts of ignorance and disrespect happening here and other places, but rather to continue to reach for higher ground like the generations before you. After all, this is what got you where you are now. You are standing here on the shoulders of others. Please use the tools you are acquiring here at Duke to make it an even better place for the next generation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Ross, and I'm the current president of National Panhellenic Council. I'm being joined by Max and Emma from IFC and Panhell, and I was asked to come up here to speak by Larry Mineta. I had a few things I wanted to say. First of all, I'm glad and honored to see that there's so many students, faculty, staff that are here in support of what has just happened here at our university. Like, it really brings tears to my eyes to see that. But the fact of the matter is, it took an incident like this for us all to come together. There have been many microaggressions that have happened to many marginalized groups here on campus. And here at Duke, we've always tended to devalue their experiences. And that's an issue that we've had. That's an issue that we need to fix. Recently, I was talking to my friend. I'm at the University of Alabama, and he's my best friend, and he just became the second African-American president there, which is a huge feat for somewhere in the Deep South. And the one conversation we always have is, and the one thing he wants to do, is to make the University of Alabama more like Duke University. He wants to take what we have done so far here at Duke, the inclusivity that we pride ourselves on, the love that we have for each other, to make the University of Alabama, which is in the Deep South, a lot better. And it hurts me to say that we're not the ones we should be following right now. We as a university, we waited till an incident of having a noose hang up on a tree to bring us together. But conversation should be happening at all times. We should always be willing to speak up in our peer groups and our social organizations whenever things are said or done that may offend others. Because that's the Duke thing to do. That is the human thing to do. That is the right thing to do. We are all people here. We're all equal. We all come from we all have different life stories that we must live by. And to devalue someone else's experiences is very disheartening. And that's the anger and the hate that many marginalized groups here feel on campus. They feel that their voices are not heard. Their voices are devalued, and that's not how it should be. We should be one community, because if one thing happens to one of us, it happens to us all. We are a family here. We come together when it comes to different things like basketball. Why can't we come together when it comes to things about race other than this incident? We need to take what we're doing now and make sure this lasts and this passes. We need to hold each other accountable, hold faculty accountable, hold staff accountable, hold our fellow students accountable. Because without that, then we're going to let these things keep building up and another incident will happen. And that's not what we want to see here at Duke. We literally just had this past weekend 100 prospective black students come to Duke University. And now they're going to have to really think about their decision, because right now it seems like Duke is not a place that is welcoming of them, not welcoming of marginalized groups. This does not seem like a safe campus. It's not a safe campus. And as you can tell, there's many groups here who are dissatisfied by the way the campus is treated them, by the way the culture is here. And everyone needs to see that and understand that we need to create this space that is safe for us all. We need this. This is something that's good for Duke, that's good for you, good for everyone, no matter race, religion, sexual orientation, gender. What's best for one student and the safety of one student is best for all. And I just ask for each and every one of us here today, and for those who are not here today, that we take this time, this experience, to reflect and drive for social change here on campus. Because it's on each and every one of us to make Duke a better place, to make America a better place, to make the world a better place. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sally Kornbluth, and although I'm a relatively new provost here, I've been at Duke for 20 years. And I have to say, my reaction to these events was to feel incredulous. I was stunned. I really just believed it. I really thought, not at Duke. We're much better than that. And maybe I was a little naive, given what's been going on in the national landscape. You know, Duke's not different. But we need to be. We need to be better than this. These events are painful. They're really painful, and I know they're painful to many of you in many different ways, and they diminish us all as a community. As the previous speaker said, it's great that we're brought together as a community by these incidents, but, this is a macroaggression, and it's the microaggressions that happen every single day that matter. Many of you may look in your hearts and say, I would never say anything racist. I would never do anything racist. But the truth of the matter is, there are no bystanders here. If you see something, if you hear something that's inappropriate, that's racist, you need to say it. We're all complicit if we hear these things, if we see some things, and we don't say it. So what can I do as a provost here? First of all, I think we need to make this a welcoming destination for Black faculty, for Black students, and Black staff. We're educators. We need to be teaching and learning in our classrooms about racism. This can't be a side incident in our education here. It's an important piece of the education of all students at Duke. For the students here, you will go out into the world having internalized what you learned and saw at Duke. And we need to think as a community, what do we want our students to have internalized? We want people to go forth into their lives with a message of inclusion, not a message of racism. And I really want to call on my faculty colleagues here as well. You have Black students in your classrooms, you need to understand what they're feeling. You need to think about your roles as mentors, as teachers, as role models. We all need to be together in setting up a safe space, and we can step up to that challenge. And part of that for me will be partnering with President Broadhead to meet some of the requests, or hopefully all of the requests of the Black Student Alliance going forward. They have a list of things that I think will really improve this community for all of us. So I hope that we can all come together and make this the kind of Duke we all really want it to be. So I really thank you all for coming here today, and I hope that you carry the experience of today forward so that when you see microaggressions, when you see incidents that you don't think should be part of the Duke community, you don't become part of it internally, you become part of it externally by telling people that this does not happen at Duke. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Larry Minetta. I'm the Vice President of Student Affairs. I think many of the students have heard from me all day today, and so I'm going to keep my remarks to just a couple of words. I think you all know how disgusted I am. I'm a child of Holocaust survivors. My parents lost their family. When I see a swastika, I shake. And I can only imagine how you feel. So all I want to say to our Black students is, I love you all, and Black Lives Matter. I want to say to our Muslim students that Muslim lives matter. I want to say to our Christian students, to our Hindu students, to our Buddhist students, to our atheist students, all lives matter. I represent a lot of staff here as well, and I'm so proud of the president and the provost and the faculty. But I can't help be most proud of our students and their voices. And all I can say on behalf of all the staff as well is we care deeply. Today is the beginning of the further conversation, not the end. There are many spaces on campus today and tonight and through the rest of the week for all of you. The cultural centers, the Mary Lou, the Center for Multicultural Affairs, the Center for Sexual and Gender Diversity, International House, all of these are going to be open into the evening. We want these to be safe spaces for conversation. As President Broadhead mentioned, we will be having dialogues in all the residences. We want to invite everybody to be part of this. As our wonderful first speaker said, whom I don't know but admire for his words, this is all about us. We have to do this together. So we end our comments today as a way of coming together as a community and acknowledging the work that we have ahead. We have that work. We pledge to participate. We pledge for this not to be just a set of statements, and we look forward to never having this happen at Duke again. Thank you for coming this evening. Have a great evening.
Produced by Duke University.